just time. In a minute, you do not find. You do not have feelings. What about in a minute? Lose 500. We do not stop Friday. When you read this. Just time. In a minute, you do not find. Just keys through down in a minute. Lose 500. We do not stop Friday.
Transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, deep in the bowels of Southwest Texas. It's the Joe Rooz Show. The show where we talk about anything and everything. Where nothing is sacred, nothing is watered down, and nothing is PC.
All righty. Hey, folks, this is Joe Rooz, and it is great to be with you once again, transmitting live from the Asylum Studios, from the Pimple on the backside of Texas, the beautiful city of Eagle Pass. And we are going to do the very best we can to bring you the best quality talk radio we can muster without all the bluster. Welcome to the Saturday edition of the Joe Rooz Show. All righty. Hey, folks, I hope you guys had a good week. It's Saturday. We didn't do the show last night, so I can't do my It's Friday call, and the It's Saturday one doesn't sound very good, so we're not going to do that. But, folks, I hope you guys had a great week, and I hope you're looking forward to a nice, relaxing, calm weekend. I know I am. And we're going to be partaking of the calmness later this afternoon. We got some nice bourbon. We got a couple of cigars that we're looking to test and sample. And so we're going to be doing that later and looking forward to it immensely. It's been a while since I've had any good bourbon, so going to enjoy that, going to partake of that. Those beautiful spirits, that beautiful amber nectar of the gods. It's beautiful stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go off on a rant about that. I can't for too much because then I'll want to go get some right now, but I'm not going to do that. But today on the show, we're going to have D Paul Fleming, who's going to talk to us about his book and a few of the other spiritual matters that encircle us. And I'm looking forward to that. When I saw his profile pop up on the Podmatch platform that I use frequently, man, I was intrigued and I really needed to check it out. So we invited him on the show. He accepted the invite. We made a special Saturday concession for him, and so we could make all of our schedules meet. and he is waiting for us in the wing. So I'm not going to keep him waiting too much longer. So just a couple of quick things before we get started. Don't forget tomorrow, our Sunday Bible study show at 2 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you jump on that. We've been studying the dispensations. And last week we finished the dispensation of human government. This week we're going to be starting the dispensation of the law. And that's going to take probably about 4 weeks. 4 weeks of study to get through that. And then we'll continue on from there. And if you remember, what we're doing on Sunday is we're going through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation all the way through, talking through the dispensation. So it's going to be the law coming up, which is huge. All right. And then, back to business on Monday. Monday show, we got a bunch of great guests lined up, and we'll fill you in on all of that on tomorrow's show. All right, folks. So I want to tell you about some of our sponsors really quickly. We have Podhome, our host audio platform. Podhome.fm is the most modern, easy-to-use podcast hosting platform that you're going to find. Use it to publish your episodes, enhance your audio, automatically generate chapters, titles, transcripts, show notes, and you can do so much more. You can even put chapter art for each individual chapter of your show, which is, if you want to do that, go ahead and do it. It would take forever, I think, to come up with chapter art for each individual chapter. But Podhome gives you the opportunity to do it. You can also broadcast your podcast live across the modern 2.0 platform apps like Podcast Guru, Fountain.fm, Podverse, Pocket Cast, so many of them. And they also have an HTML that you can insert into your website, and you can have this beautiful media player that they offer, where you can actually listen to your podcast live through the website, and also use that as an archive player. So, and if you don't have a website, they'll even give you a website. You get a website, no additional charge. It's absolutely free. Everything that you need in one affordable subscription of $15.99 a month. That's just $15.99 a month. And if you go to Podhome today, you sign up, you get 30 days free to play with it. So try it out. I guarantee you're going to want to stick with it. All right, folks. Also, we all know that electricity is essential, and TNE Energy makes it affordable and personal. More than 1 million customers across the U.S. trust TNE Energy to power their homes and earn free energy while doing that just by referring their friends and family. Now, you can also head over to visit. You can all head over to I'm not used to being up this early on a Saturday. All right, so my mouth is not awake yet. You can visit tne.energy and explore all the options that are available to your home and for your home today. All right. Also, don't forget to head over to our website, joerooz.com. And when you get there, head over to the contact section, open up that little web form, and send us over a message. Let us know whatever's on your heart, whatever's on your mind, any questions, comments, cares, concerns, any complaints. If you have any suggestions for a guest or a topic that you'd like us to discuss, let us know what you're thinking. And if you don't want to use the contact form, totally fine. That's why we have an email address. You can always send it to us at info@joerooz.com. That's info@joerooz with a Z.com. And also, you can leave a comment down below there in the comment section. We always like to get those. So let us know. Reach out to us. We love to keep the channels of communication open. So keep talking, folks. Drop those comments. Also, if you would, look for the support button on our homepage. And remember that this is a value for value show. All that simply means is that if you've received anything of value from what we've been putting out, we're asking that you return that value to us in the form of a donation. And that donation could be your time, your talent, or your treasure. So we'll lay out all of those different options available to you as we get through the show. And we'll do that, as always, at the end. Also, need to remind you guys about the GoFundMe that we have set up to help keep this thing going here. You guys know we had this problem with taxes on the property and causing an escrow shortage here at the asylum. And so we need to come up with a lump sum to make the mortgage payments manageable, at least, because it went up ridiculously starting this past November 1st. So if you could help us out, we would appreciate that. If not, hey, just keep us in prayer that we are able to generate the funds to do that. And we do appreciate, we had one anonymous donor send us over $300 last week, and we do appreciate that. So thank you very much. All of that is going into the fund for the escrow shortage. So if you could just scan the QR code, or the link will be down in the show notes. Just click that. And if you can help us out with the donation, we'd appreciate it. Remember, everything that we collect right now that's coming in through the boosts, and anything that's coming in as far as donations through the show site, all are getting funneled into the GoFundMe, or at least into the escrow issue that we're dealing with. So help us out with that if you can. If not, hey, no worries. Just keep us in prayer that we are able to continue on and do that. What'll end up happening, though, to be very honest with you, is we're probably going to end up having to scale back on the shows and cut back on the schedules and all that wonderful stuff, mostly because probably going to have to get another job just to pay the taxes. So let's hope that doesn't necessarily need to happen, and we can get this taken care of in a lump sum. All right. Well, having said all of that, my friends, thank you very much for your patience. Waiting here in the wings for us is D Paul Fleming. D Paul is a disabled Navy veteran and a Native American holy man, a sacred title given to him by his granddaughter Crow. Drawing from both his native heritage and his Christian faith, he serves as a Heyoka, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, seer, healer, and spiritual warrior who has spent his life investigating and cleansing haunted spaces, confronting everything from playful spirits to dangerous, dark entities. Known for his prophetic insights and powerful storytelling, he described himself as a hollow bone, a vessel for ancestral wisdom and the Great Spirit. Through his books and his healing work, D. Paul's mission remains constant: to help others, to confront darkness, and to bring light to those facing supernatural or spiritual distress. D. Paul, thank you so much for being here today. Welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Whoa, Joe. Great to be here.
Awesome, man. Hey,
how about that sponsorship you got?
Which one?
Podhome.fm, $15.99 a month. Oh my God, folks. Let's go buy this stuff.
This stuff is great. It's a great platform.
$15.99 a month and the website. Come on, man. That's a great sponsor.
Oh, they're fantastic. I've been with them for 3 years. They're just amazing. And they actually just recently came out with their own podcast player called Podhome. And it's beautiful. The user interface is great. It's seamless. You can actually hook up your wallets. If you have cryptos, you can hook up your crypto wallet to it, and you can send satoshis, little boosts to the shows that you're listening to let them know you're out there, and little encouragement to keep going. And it's a lot of fun. It's great. It's a great platform. Customer service is great, and it's a small company too. That's why they can keep the expenses so low. I don't know if I should. No, I'll say it anyway. I think he said it when he was on the show, the owner. It's only 3 of them that actually run the thing. It's the owner, and he has 2 unpaid interns that actually do the work to keep the whole thing going, and they do a spectacular job with it. And I think that's why they can keep the expenses so low, and they offer a ton. Believe me, I didn't even touch half of what they do in that little description.
$15.99 a month plus the website. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. So
Podhome.fm. Let's get on it, folks.
There you go. All right. So, D. Paul, man, this is great. Thank you again for accepting the invitation to come on the show. And I've been looking forward to this. Like I told you before the show, I went through your profile. I checked out some of your book, and I'm looking forward to getting into the rest of it at some point this week. But just to have you on the show, man, this was great. I was looking forward to it. And I've been hyping it up to a bunch of friends, and hopefully they're watching and listening and get something out of this. And if Eddie, listen, folks, I very rarely do this, and I should do it more often. But if you're watching or you're listening, you have comments or something, drop them in the comment section. Let us know. We'll get to them, and we can take questions if you like. All right. Well, with all of that said, my friend, what's something about yourself that nobody knows but should?
Well, I'd tell you, but then I'd have to kill you, so nobody would end up knowing, right? So is that where you want to go with this opening salvo, Joe?
Well,
what dark secrets am I going to launch on the first moments of your great show? And then I'm going to have to drive to Texas and knock you off, right?
I think I remember hearing you say somewhere that obviously you're a veteran. Again, thank you for your service, sir. I really do appreciate that. And
comes in handy on Veterans Day.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure. At least it's not Memorial Day. So
yeah, that's a different day.
Much different. But I heard you say on another show that the Navy tried to kill you.
Yeah, they tried a couple of times. God had other plans.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, they tried to drown me. They tried to run me over with a submarine. They did all kinds of stuff. Tried to burn me alive a couple times. That was exciting.
I'm assuming
then they tried to make me crazy. That damn near worked.
Well, I'm assuming that a lot of that stuff took place as for like training purposes. I'm hoping, at least. No? Okay. We'll leave it just there.
No, it was real life.
Oh man. Oh well.
It was real life.
Oh man.
It was as real as it gets.
Well, we'll leave it there then.
So we can talk about it. I'm not bashful about talking about anything. I'm my favorite subject.
All right. Well, then, so is that something that that took place? That something about yourself that nobody knows but should?
No. I use those stories to help paint the path forward, if you will. To help folks see that great forces out there have tried to take me out, and I've always believed that it's not up to me, it's not up to you.
Yeah.
It's when Great Spirit says it's time, and everything in between are just tests and trials and strengthening, soul strengthening events in your life, right?
Yeah,
Kills you doesn't make you stronger.
That was
they've tried to make me mighty strong, I'm telling you.
Well, it looks like they might have. So, okay, so what's the weirdest compliment that you ever received?
That I'm brilliant, and you said it a little while ago this morning. So say it again.
I said your writing style was brilliant. I didn't say you were brilliant.
Oh, you see, when you get old and you have your AARP card, you're allowed to have selective hearing. So I just heard brilliant and talented, and all those things that'll make your ego jump into salt water, right?
I don't know, but I don't think you're that much older than I am. So
I don't look a day over 80. How about you?
Well, I've been told I don't look a day over 70, so I'm not too far behind you. But I'm getting there. We will be hitting 55 next week. Next week will be 55.
Oh, you are old. We got to do something about that.
Yeah. More bourbon, cigars, and some companionship would be good, right? There you go.
Bourbon. All right. A little early in the day. Well, it is Saturday, isn't it? Or is it Sunday? What day is it?
Saturday. It is Saturday.
Oh, all right. Then is that craft of vodka, or is that bourbon I see beside your microphone?
This here.
I'm just playing with you, Joe.
No comment.
Just trying to get your reaction.
No comment, sir. I will not reveal what is in the mystical cup here today, but actually, it's just coffee with some sambuca. So,
bearded vet coffee.
I am a Sicilian, by the way. So we do like our coffee with our sambuca. So, all right. So tell us,
Mr. Banano.
Tell us a little bit about who D Paul was before becoming the author.
Yeah, everything that I am goes into my writings. There's very little in the stories that I tell that aren't true experiences that I've been through. Sometimes I'll tell the story through somebody else, or a lot of times I'll tell the story through somebody else. But a lot of who I am is revealed in my writings and my various genres, which drives the publishing world insane because they have this mystical belief that a human being can only be in one genre at a time. So I tend to paint who I am inside the words of what I write.
Now, you've walked two paths. You have your Native American heritage and your Christian faith. How do those two spiritual traditions shape the healer and the holy man that you've become?
Yeah, that's a long answer. There's a lot to it. Try to cliff note it, right?
We have plenty of time.
I can understand where some people think there's a conflict. Hold on, I got to plug this computer in, Joe, and I think I'm plugging it into TNE Energy, one of the greatest energy companies in Midland, Texas. Get your power from TNE. Power, baby.
Solar power.
All right, back to me. What the hell was I saying? You got to call your sponsors and tell them I'm a hell of a speaker for them.
I will do that.
We're gonna get you some more sponsorships, man.
I will do. Absolutely. I would love that. That'd be great. Got to pay the bill.
We got to have you on live every day at noon Eastern time. Monday through Friday.
One of these days. That there's an echo, man. Oh wow. Let's fix that. Let's see if we can fix that here. Oh, that's already on.
While you're playing with that, what the heck was the question you asked me?
How has your Native American heritage and your Christian faith shaped the healer and holy man that you become?
Yeah, first and foremost, just knowing that's what I am and knowing it my whole life. I always knew I had to walk both paths, and if I strayed too far from one, the other one would kind of slap me around and push me back in a direction. But I walked my Native American beliefs and Christian beliefs hand in glove. You know, I look at the flaws in all of it, right? And I take the stuff that resonates best with me, and I unapologetically tell those who have things to say otherwise, you know, listen, live your life, right? I'm not here to judge you. Why you judging me, right? Mm-hmm. So the stunning part is the natural world, you know, my native faith has so many similarities to Christianity. You know, if you scoop out the power and the money and the man's influence over the teachings, you know, or how you know, a human will corral certain things and say, oh my God, you got to do it this way or else. You know, listen, the natural world, everybody understands the natural world. Whether you say you do or not, you know you're living, you know you're going to die. You know everything around you is living and dying at the same time, right? The natural world.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a lifetime. It still is. You know, I mean, I'm getting old, so it's kind of maybe I'm on the downhill side, right? But for me, I've always found it relatively easy to live in both worlds. But when you have to explain it to others, you know, it can be a longer conversation. But what I find in general is people listen to what I have to say and take away the good stuff from it and stuff that resonates with you. And the stuff you don't like that I say, throw it the hell out. Doesn't mean anything, right? What resonates with you?
Oh, that's interesting. That's a really good way to approach the whole thing. One of the things that we talk about.
Hold on. Isn't that what the baby Jesus said?
Yes.
Right? The baby Jesus lives in us. Doesn't say you got to go see somebody else to find him.
That's right.
He's in us. Again, I refuse to put down religion. It's just stupid to do it. Okay. Because, you know, my wife is a fantastic, hardcore Irish Catholic. Mm-hmm. Okay. She loves the church. I love the buildings. I love certain preachers. And then there's other preachers, you know, I've asked the baby Jesus to come take him and, you know, take him back to trade school and shake him with a few more of the Bible verses.
Take him out on the woodshed.
Well, what does God call the woodshed? Life, right? So make him back up and do some parts of life over again. You got to cut and clip that one. That was a pretty good little chunk of.
Yes, we'll mark that one at 11:23.
11:23. That's a D Paulism, right?
Is that a new revelation for you?
Just made it up, man. Just came out of my mouth. We are breaking news on the Joe Rooz show.
We are setting trends, folks. We are setting trends here.
Better call that power company and tell them to crank up another new plant.
Yeah, I wish. Oh man. So now you were
getting Joe. I got you off your game, so I'm having fun.
No, you don't.
I got you thinking.
Well, no, you know what it is? I'm not used to being awake at this time. I'm usually still sleeping at this time. You know,
what the hell time is it in Texas?
It's 11:24 right now.
In the morning, right?
Correct. Yes. It's Saturday.
I'm gonna start calling you at 4 a.m. Eastern time. We'll change that pattern for you.
Oh man, no. I actually Saturdays I get a lot done on Saturday. I get up early Saturdays, but I'm not used to doing a show on a Saturday morning. Usually when I do a Saturday show, it's in the afternoon. We have a resident crypto psychic that comes on the show every 2 weeks. She was supposed to do the show today with us, but she's sick, so she wasn't able to come on. And what she does is she uses her psychic abilities and tarot to make cryptocurrency predictions. And I got to say, you know, she's spot on, man. Marissa Lee, she's been pretty spot on. So we do a show every other Saturday, and today would have been our other Saturday, and she was going to come on right after you, but she's under the weather, so she's not coming on. But that's the only time I really do Saturday shows. But so I'm a little bit off with that one. But listen, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll have to pull out my feather and do a little Johnny Carson. I'm seeing crypto coins going to.
He caught me doing this.
Right.
I gotcha. So you were given a title. You were given the title of a holy man by your granddaughter Crow. How did that happen? And what does that actually, as far as the honor of it go, mean to you spiritually and personally?
Well, let me give kudos to granddaughter Crow. Granddaughter Crow is a Native American mixed blood out of the Navajo Nation. I've known her for a long time. She is a phenomenal individual. Okay, this is her latest book, Shamanism and Your Shadow. Okay. And her ancestral title, Granddaughter Crow, okay, is one thing, but her Dutch name is Dr. Joy Gray. She's a young woman with a PhD who spent, a decade or two in the corporate world. So she's an incredibly book smart, brilliant woman. And from where I really enjoy her is on the Native American side of the fence, and how much she's helped me learn and understand about the natural world and the things it takes to be a shaman or a holy man. And she gave me the title of a seasoned holy man, and I accept it reluctantly, because I don't feel that I've earned that title. But again, that's kind of how it works, I guess, right? So I take it with great humility and great respect. All right. When I asked her why are you, she said, listen, tell me what the spirit world's telling me. So either accept it or don't. And I'm like, oh, that's a great answer. She says, well, let me elaborate a little more. Titles tend to help people make decisions on whether or not they want to listen to you or not. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So she said, I've been a seasoned holy man for a very, very long time, but I've always kind of shunned titles. I'm just not a title guy. Right. But carrying the title helps open doors and gets conversations moving. Right. How did I earn the title of a seasoned holy man? Listen, I've been doing this my whole life. I've had gifts and, other things. I've been able to see, sense, know, understand things that you shouldn't be able to understand. Mm-hmm. So I've been a practicing holy man my whole life. It just took, 6+ decades to earn the title.
Yeah. It's a shame though that people tend to look for the credentials before looking at the actual person. And they'll base whether or not they want to listen to you because you have a couple of letters either before your name or after your name or some kind of a specific title. And that's a shame because there are so many people out there who have been blessed with wisdom that's either, whether it's earthly wisdom or wisdom beyond the world, that don't get an opportunity to really talk about the things that are passionate to them or the things that are within, I call it the wheelhouse, things that are within their wheelhouse. Because they don't have those credentials, those titles, those little letters before and after, and I think that's a shame. Just in our brief interaction here, I can tell very, very quickly that I can learn a lot from you, and I want to be able to talk to you, about the experiences that you've had, and I don't care about the titles, I don't care about that stuff. I'm looking at you as an individual. You have an incredible story, an incredible background, and it's just a shame that people have to rely on a title. Not saying you but other people have to rely on a title in order for them to give you their attention. People can learn a ton from your experiences through life and through your spiritual life as well. So I appreciate that very, very
well.
much.
With that said, Joe, I'm going to have to withdraw my title for you of the greatest podcaster in the history of podcasting. We don't want people out there thinking you are a great podcaster.
I'm not.
Okay, because that would be a title. Wait a minute. No. We're going to stick that moniker on you. You are the greatest podcaster out there. There we go, Joe. We're having fun now.
I'm gonna change my little ticker at the bottom there where it says my X account. I'll put the greatest podcaster ever.
Right? You know what? You can promote Muhammad Ali like I do. I am the greatest. I am the greatest. Right? That was the greatest promoter ever. Muhammad Ali. What an awesome man he was.
Oh,
awesome.
You know what? He knew how to market himself. He really did.
Yes.
He was great.
Yeah, and I learned a lot from, when I study and I read, I search for what's behind the scenes. I search for what's in between the paragraphs or the sentences, right? And Muhammad Ali stood for some amazing things at great, great personal sacrifice. Whether you agree with them or not, doesn't matter. Just looking at the man, looking at the soul and the life that he lived, made a lot of mistakes, but Lord knows he did some amazing things. Just watching him do the rope-a-dope. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a gift all by itself. So, I mean, no man should be able to move like that. Only a woman. Okay. But I'm telling you, Muhammad Ali had so much of his yin and yang working together, man. He could float like a butterfly and sting like not a woman, but not a bee, but a woman, because that man could sting you.
Yeah. Oh, I love to watch the old fight tapes and just watch how he moved, the finesse. But not only did he have finesse, but he had power behind that. And I look at some of the punches that he threw, man. I would not want to take a punch from him. I would, against any other fighter, maybe not even Mike Tyson, but I think he was definitely one of the greatest fighters ever. I honestly believe that.
So when I look around at my life, I try to find ways to either inspire myself to keep moving forward. Muhammad Ali was one of them. How can I get to that level of moving my soul forward and helping others, right? And I think it's a great lessons can be learned from him, including the titles that he held and how he honored those titles. But he would joke, he would make fun of himself, and he would accept the titles, but he never let it go to his head. And he had one of the biggest egos for a person who didn't let his ego run his life. That is a difficult thing to accomplish. Okay. Absolutely. I am constantly on guard for my ego because it will destroy me or anybody else that lets their ego do their thing faster than, it takes decades to build success. It takes seconds for your ego to destroy it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I agree with that completely. I have to do the same thing too. I mean, look, I could sit just like you have an incredible history, pedigree, resume behind you. I don't have a too shabby one myself. I've been through and done a lot of stuff over the course of my life. So I've worn many, many hats, and some of those things I could easily put that lapel pin on and say I'm the greatest thing in the world. But I won the Humble Man of the Year award just once. And then they took it away from me when I put the lapel pin on my jacket. So it's like I have to keep myself in check, because if I start throwing out all the stuff that I do and all the stuff that I've done, man, my head can swell pretty big and I'll destroy everything very easily.
Joe, that's why I deflect and use humor.
Yes.
Okay. When people start going down the path of things I've accomplished. So I'm going to answer your question directly. Yeah, I've accomplished, quite from out people on the outside looking in. I've accomplished an ungodly amount of things. I've survived an ungodly amount of things. Okay, but for me, listen, it's just a day in the life, and I'm constantly, putting that stuff behind me, and looking forward. If you want to get into what it took me to get here, 2,442 steps to crazy at the beginning. Listen, this book will make your toenails clip themselves. Okay. There is writing in there that will stay with you for the rest of your life. It is a powerful, powerful story of survival, resilience, and overcoming odds and obstacles that I never should have overcome. All right. But it's also about keeping the faith. For the abuse that I survived as a child and being homeless at 14 and on my own and in the military at 17, I'm the poster child for what the statistics say my life should have gone, right? People treated me like I was from the wrong side of the tracks most of my life, and crazy, they still do until somebody points out that some of the things I've accomplished, and then here comes the alphabets after the name, right? And people start looking at you differently. So for me, I do my best to kind of keep downplaying it, right? Except for when I'm promoting books. So guys, buy my books, right? A Date with Suicide. This book is about solving the problem by explaining to the population why 50 plus veterans a day are committing suicide. Now, how did I do that? I tell you the stories through me. Yeah. I tell you that even though my first book talks about absolute torture as a child. Okay. Now, why do I say torture? Because I was with my wife, as I say, for 50 years. Okay.
God for that.
50 years we were together before I told her the first thing about my childhood. All right. Now, let me clue you in a little bit. We've been together like 37 years, but with the wind chill, it's closer to 50. Okay. So let's get the weather report in for the day. All right.
Nice.
When this book was published, I handed it to my wife. Now, my wife and I have been, like I said, married 30, almost 40 years. All right. Never said a word to her about my childhood. We had 6 kids. Never said a word to them. Okay. Things I would say was, you have no idea how good you got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. when my wife read the book, she didn't talk to me for days. And when she tried to, she'd just start crying. Okay. When she could finally start talking to me again, she would say, I understand now. I mean, I don't understand, but I do understand.
She has a better idea of what took place. Yeah.
And then she looked at me and says, but you weren't abused. I'm kind of looking at her and she says, you were tortured.
Yeah.
And I had a come to Jesus moment internally because I never looked at it that way, you know? And then a few other things flashed through my mind, right? You know, I didn't know I was homeless, but I was. I was homeless living on a back porch for 6 months through winter in New England. Okay. But it's because of my transition from the military. I was discharged to the VA after my 6-year ride was up. And, you know, I didn't have anything. I had a job, but I didn't have money and a place to live. So I lived on a triple-decker back porch up in Boston. Knock the snow off of me in the morning, get up, go to work, right? It is what it is. I didn't know I was homeless until the VA said you were homeless. Okay. So, you know, I never blamed anybody else, always took responsibility for everything. And I don't blame anybody for my lot in life. But just the stuff that I just spit out there, right? I never looked at it as an accomplishment. When I finally started writing these books and I started listening to the people and the feedback, I was dumbfounded at how these books resonate with people and how the stories inside of them connect to people in a way that helps them overcome their traumas in life.
Yeah.
And they reach out constantly. And I encourage you to do so. Reach out through Joe. We'll get back on his show and do an open phone call conversation. You know, I've done this on radio interviews and they work out great. Okay. You know, but anyway, I'll stop before this fly buzzing around me kind of hits me upside the head for you and tells me to give you a chance to speak on your own show.
No, you're fine, dude. Trust, you're fine. I just want to go back to two quick things. Number one, the amount of homeless veterans and suicide among veterans is absolutely disgusting. My personal belief is, that if you served in the military, whether in combat situations or just in general service, you should get everything for nothing. Everything should be covered for you. You should have a home. You should have health care. You should have food. You should have everything that you need at no charge. You know, that's my opinion. If you don't like it, I don't care. My dad.
I support that position, Joe. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I support that position. Right? I'm 100% disabled vet. Again, I've never complained about it. And I was a disabled vet back in a time when saying you were disabled, you know, was as taboo as it gets. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, my dad was a veteran. My dad served in Vietnam and, you know, I saw my dad struggle, you know, over the elder years of his life. He didn't really talk much about his time in service when I was growing up. As he got older and up to just before he passed, he told me a lot more stuff. You know, he kind of opened up the door to the family secrets on a lot of things. And, you know, I was very, very surprised, much like you know, where you didn't really talk about things in your background, your history, your life before your family. My dad did very much the same thing up until the very end. You put it in writing. My dad told me stories and it was horrifying. A lot of the things that my dad had told me, things that I had never knew, but then all of a sudden the light turned on and said, well, that makes sense now, why it's like this and why it's like that. And to see my dad as a veteran struggle for his health care, for the basic needs that he had, and getting, you know, shoved aside by the VA and getting the cold shoulder from other organizations that worked with veterans. You know, it's disgusting. It truly is. And I'm not saying that, you know, just because you're sitting here and you're a veteran, I'm telling you from my heart, that's absolutely disgusting. The other thing I wanted to say too is talking about the ego again is, you know, you said you deflect it with humor. Well, I do something very similar to that, and people call me out on it regularly. I am very much on self-deprecation. Like I will put myself down and I'll make a joke out of it, just, you know, much like, you know, deflecting with humor, because I know how I can get. I know that if I let my ego and my pride get in the way, I'm wrecked. I'm done. I've seen it happen, you know, before I learned how to take care of it the way I take care of it. So yeah, I totally get exactly where you're coming from, and I think that's a great and it's a valid point. You also describe yourself in your bio as a hollow bone, and I thought that was really interesting. Can you share it with us what that means and how that influences what you do?
So I spent a lot of time studying different Native American customs, cultures, beliefs, healing. A lot of time with Lakota trained folks. And I read everything published on Chief Foolscrow. And his moniker, if you will, I don't know if that's the right word, but he would say religiously that he was a hollow bone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Able to move God's light, Great Spirit's light from the spirit world through him and into this world, okay? I resonate with that because, the first time I faced cancer in somebody and could see it, I was a teenager, and I was with this girl, and she was dealing with I can't remember what kind of cancer, but she'd had a handful of cancers in her young life, and we were dating, and took a ride to the hospital with her, and went through chemo, and I was holding on to her in the backseat of her mother's car. I think we're like, I don't know, 13, 14, maybe 15.
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly remember the age, but actually it comes out in book 2 of the Crazy series. I dive into that story deep because of some current events that are going on with me, around my life rather. And in hindsight, when I some of the things I'm going through now, I go back to that story, and it was the first time I know that I have the ability to connect the spirit world with those who ask for help. Okay. And I could see, and I started praying, right, the way I do. And I could see the white light beings coming in and making these contacts, and I'm going to kind of leave it at that because I don't want to get too deep into it. Mm-hmm. But the hollow bone part was your question. And in my later life, when I started reading things about Chief Foolscrow, this man lived to be 99 years old and retired from healing people for the last 6-8 years of his life. He just had enough. Okay. Mm-hmm. But he was a hell of a spiritual person. Okay. And I do my best to try and honor his way by, in part, using that phrase, a hollow bone. I think he's one of the greatest men I've never met, but I hope to in the future.
What was it? What was that? I guess what was the moment or series of moments that pushed you to step forward publicly with your story and all the experiences that you've had?
Well, let's see. Do you believe in the baby Jesus?
Of course.
Did he ever show up, and start knocking you around a little bit? And
oh yes.
All right, well, me and the baby Jesus would argue, and I would say I'm not writing, and you would say yes you are. Okay. And I would say, no, I'm not. And I'm not an Irish Catholic stubborn like my wife, mm-hmm. but I can be as stubborn as it gets. Right. And I'm not going to write I'm not right. I'm not telling these. So I gave up and said, I better listen to the baby Jesus and start telling these stories. Okay. Why would anybody want to read about my life when it was as disgusting as it gets? Right. It was brutal. Mm-hmm. Why does anybody want to read these things? That was my mentality. Okay. So all I kept hearing was, you of all people need to keep the faith. And I'm like, man, I hate it when the spirit world does that. Right. I run around telling people keep the faith, and then they throw it back at me. Hey, stupid, keep the faith. Yeah. All right. You got me. So I struggled to write the first book, and I mean, struggled. And if you folks think if your listeners think I'm educated, listen, I love to tell my wife I'm a smart guy. I just don't think she believes it. Right?
That's good.
Now I know I am not a book educated individual. Okay. It took me 2 years to get out of freshman English class. Okay. And 4 years to get out of English class, period. Okay. I still don't know the difference between a pronoun and an adjunct professor. All right. So for me to venture into the realm of writing novels that truly capture people's attention, I needed a lot of help, right? So some guy Wozniak and another guy did some things with computers. And next thing you know, if you can type, man, you might as well type in Russian until it translated into English. Okay, because these computers are something else.
Yeah.
So once that vehicle got there and, you know, the spirit world, you know, kind of pushed me, and they pushed me hard. And I sat down and wrote my first story, which is my childhood, and you know, up to the age of 14. And honestly, it took me 2 years. I wrote that book and threw it away, I think 6 times. And I mean, threw it away. I even threw the computer out once. I don't recommend that. Okay. Because when you're telling your story, you're processing your trauma.
Yes.
Okay. That led me to my second book, A Date with Suicide. And it taught me a lot of things. My own books taught me a lot of things. So as I'm saying that out loud, I can hear the spirit world laughing their asses off at me, you know, as they're all doing the round of applause. You know, we told you, keep the faith, man.
Yeah.
You know, because the tough part of life and understanding it is that you have to go through these things to truly learn the lessons. If you know what's coming, you're not going to learn the lesson the same way. It's just not how we're built. So the direct question to your answer of how and why I started writing these books, I'm not qualified to write, but I have an absolute gift that I swear to you, the spirit world embeds the emotions and the pictures of what I, you know, my stories into into this way that I'm shocked when I listen to people describe my stories, you know?
Yeah. I've had several experiences like that, where the Holy Spirit would kind of push me to do things. Just one particular incident, you know, not too long ago actually was, I went through a very bad breakup. My now ex-wife. So a lot of issues went on, and at the time, I was teaching in I was teaching Sunday school classes at my church. I used to preach. I was an associate pastor in a church up in New York for a little while. And I teach Bible studies. I did a Bible study podcast for about 3 years, and so this happened during that period of time where I was teaching the Bible study podcast. And when the end of the marriage came about, I was extremely angry and bitter against God for it, that He allowed all those things to happen. And I took the totally wrong approach. And I'm not saying, you know, I was right in any of this, but it was totally wrong approach to the whole thing. You know, I had that moment where I stood there and I was waving my, you know, figuratively speaking, waving my fist at God, saying, "Why did you do this to me? Look at what I've done. Why are you doing this to me?" And I told him, I had a conversation with him, and I said, "I am done." I call it my Jeremiah moment. I said, "I'm done. I refuse. I am not going to teach anymore. I am not going to speak in your name anymore. I am not going to talk to people about my faith anymore. I'm done. I'll continue to go to church, but I will sit in the back pews. I will not get involved. I will not serve. I will not do anything. I'm done. You let me down. You failed me." All that stuff. And the way you describe the Spirit talking to you is the same way that the Spirit talks to me. All He did was He patted me on the head and He goes, "Okay, that's nice, Joe. Here's what I want you to teach next week." And he gave me a whole outline. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that." And that's what he did. "Okay, that's fine, Joe. But listen, this is what I want you to talk about next week." And and then again, like yourself, see, we have a lot of similarities in our experiences, and I think that's probably the reason why I wanted to connect with you as much as I did. Another experience that I had too is doing the podcast. I was teaching through the books of First and Second Timothy at the time, and it talks about persevering. It talks about, you know, just hanging in there, contending for the faith. You know, just keep moving, keep walking, keep doing it. Don't give up. And I had moments where I was ready to. I did. And I've said this on the show before, so it's no big secret to my regular viewers and listeners. Exactly right. I did that. I tried. I took a whole bottle of pills and drank it down with a bottle of Jack. and woke up the next day with a headache. And that was the worst of it, which of course got me angry, more angry because, I can't even kill myself. He won't let me go. And then teaching through the books of Timothy and studying those things out, I didn't realize at the time that I was preparing myself, or I was being prepared for what was coming. And it was when I realized that after the fact, it really shook me. But that's how the Holy Spirit deals with me, much like you. All right, that's good. Here, this is what I want you to do now, and you do it.
So let me follow on with that story. People ask me all the time on podcasts, what's the scariest things I've ever seen, or tried to get rid of or gotten rid of in my endeavors with the battles with darkness. And I answer them two ways. One is, well, first and foremost, the most terrifying thing that I've ever bumped into is the living. Okay. The spirit world to me is easy because I understand it, and there's only so much they can do. The living, good Lord. Okay. They're as terrifying as it gets.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, along the lines of you, when I had I've had enough. Okay. And I meant it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I'm gonna do something here to make sure that I don't disrespect what I had to undo. So, Great Spirit, the story I'm telling is a story of what happened, and you know it, and I'm just telling the story and not asking for it to happen again. So please keep all protection right with me. Okay?
Amen.
Right. I was having my greatest effort moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'd had enough. I was tired of tired of seeing ghosts and spirits and feeling everybody's energy and dreams and all this stuff. Okay. I had enough. Okay. And I didn't see a purpose behind it all. Okay. What's the purpose? Okay. When you can see these things, when you can't do anything about it, what's the purpose? Right. So I had my enough, and I pushed all of my protection away. Okay. And I said, take these GIFTS. Okay. I've had enough. And they did. Okay. And as I watched my gatekeeper, which is my, the spirit guide that's with me from start to finish, we all have one. Okay. And I watched the other layers of protection just slowly drift away. As they drifted away, I could feel, like a spiritual suction cup. The feel of love, of all things good, just kind of being sucked away as my protection pushed out, which is what I told him to do, right? Now, this went on for 3-4 seconds, okay? Didn't take very long, and it was incredibly overpowering, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to adjust and understand that, in comes this snake-like chunk of tarry slime, black nastiness. Now, the visual was nothing compared to the sensations and the feelings, the taste, the smell, the sense of raw, pure evil. It hit me in a way that took anything I'd been through in life and made it a drop of on a pin. It was nothing. It was a pinprick, all of it combined, compared to what I was staring at and what was between me. And it was between me and my God protection. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm at second 5 or 6 in this real life. Okay. It took me about another half a second and about 1 heartbeat before I reversed position and started begging God to come back, baby Jesus, all of my protection. Okay. And as they crept in, they had to go to war with this dark entity to get it the hell out of there. Now, the one thing I didn't do was invite anything in. That was my saving grace. Okay. Because I was furious, but I never put out ultimatums. Okay. That's just something that was wise within my soul that didn't let it slip past my lips. Right. you know. So they cleared up that darkness, pulled it out of there, and as they did, the mental image of this is the fights you're going to be getting into, okay, kind of started resonating. And at that moment, I realized things. Now, it didn't happen, you know, in the next 10, 20 seconds. It happened over the next period of time that I came to the realization that everything I've been through, okay, is like making a military warrior, right? If you're going to send somebody places, you better train them.
Yeah.
And our military is great at doing that, okay? So if you can put your warriors through hell and back, when you send them to actual combat or to do what they're supposed to do, as long as they don't have any surprises, they should be in good shape. Well, it dawned on me that the spirit world is the same thing, and that I, or any of us going through these trials and tribulations, are there to build us up to be the spiritual warrior that we came here to be.
That incredibly well said, and you answered my next question. Actually, talking about, I was going to ask you how you, in your experience, the spirit world operates, and I think you answered that already. And I agree with you. It is like a military training program. It truly is. You know, if you have any familiarity with Scripture, even a cursory overview of Scripture, you get the sense that we are in a spiritual battle each and every day. And all the things that we go through that the Holy Spirit allows to take place in our lives is to prepare us for the next challenge that comes. And yeah, so I agree with that. It's a great observation. And I see it every day. I see it in my life and my walk. You know, there are plenty of times where in that period of time where I kind of, you know, raised the fist. After I did, and God, you know, pushed me to continue on, you know, I often thought about, you know, one of the scariest things that can take place in someone's life is when the Holy Spirit withdraws and takes that protection from you. You know, now the Holy Spirit never leaves you, doesn't forsake you, doesn't totally turn you over, but he will step back and he'll let you go.
Oh no, let me make a statement in there.
Go ahead, man.
You want to fuck around and find out? Go ahead, because God will listen, because you have free will.
Yes.
Okay. Pay attention to what I said. I didn't make the mistake of saying something else. I just said I've had enough. Okay.
Right.
Now, if I'd have gone a little further, okay, you know, my soul would have been in trouble, because that slithery thing, the only message it was sending me was, I'm here for your soul. Okay. I mean, that was, to me, it was even more real than the conversation I'm having with you. Okay. So God will leave you if you push it. Okay. Because you have free will. Okay. So, you know, don't mess around. Listen, don't mess around with the Ouija board. If you're going to play with the Ouija board, you better understand how to set protection, because you're inviting anything in. Yeah, and when you step away from the baby Jesus, same thing. Okay? Yeah, you're stepping away from protection, and darkness will fill that void the second they can see your light dimming.
Of course, because it creates a vacuum, and it's going to just pull it right on in. It's going to see an opportunity for it to take over and to steer you, guide you, and torment you in the direction that it wants to take you. It's very, very scary dealing with the spirit world, and a lot of people don't really understand that. You really can't control the spirit world. My personal experiences and my personal beliefs, you know, it's not something that I want to mess with too much. Like, I do not ever want to see a demon. I do not ever want to have to deal with that. Yet people go out there and they try to conjure these things up. They try to talk to these things and control them. There was a book that was put out a number of years ago by a very well-known Satanist, and I cannot remember the guy's name for a second, but called The Goetia, and which lists how you can conjure up Solomon's 72 demons. You know, people actually try this. They buy these books and they try to mess with these things, thinking that it's just a novelty act. No, it's not. It's not. The spirit world is a very real place, and it will mess you up if you mess with it, and if you're not protected, and if you're not doing it properly. If you don't know what you're doing, stay away from it. That's why I don't mess around with Ouija boards. I'm fascinated by it. I think it's an interesting thing, but I would never mess with it. You know, I don't want to bring any of that stuff into my life. I got enough problems. I don't need to add any more to it. You know what I'm saying?
I do, and it comes down to your intent.
Yeah.
Okay, your intent. Okay, my intent wasn't to shun God. My intent was to end what I didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thank God the spirit world understood my intent. Right, and that's what when people mess around with a Ouija board, what is their intent? And that's what both sides of the light and dark. They're looking at your intent. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I know we're talking about supernatural stuff, spiritual things, and I mentioned to you prior to the show that I've had a few experiences in the paranormal realm on my own. I told you I think it's my mom messing with me a lot of times because she promised she would. But people do capture a lot of stuff in photos and videos. I have a great video of something that happened here in my house. So in my kitchen, I have an island, and I have one of those ice stampers. You know what I'm saying? So it has my initials. So if I want to be fancy, if I have pour a drink, I'll throw an ice cube in there, stamp my initials on it, and it looks all pretty. Right?
Is that so you remember who you are after your third glass?
Well, for whoever I'm drinking with, to remember where they are. So sometimes if I'm drinking that much, I don't want to remember who I am. So I don't want the reminder. But I hadn't used it, so it was dry. There was nothing. Everything. I was sitting on my couch, and I don't know what made me look over that way. I just happened to look toward the island, and I noticed that the stamp, it was standing straight up on top of the countertop, and it just kind of moved just a little bit, and then moved a little bit more, and is that moving? Like I didn't acknowledge it right away. And by the time I was able to find my phone, grab it, and go record it, it had moved from the back of the island to almost about the middle of it. So I grabbed the phone, I started recording it, and I was just holding it there, and I actually caught it continue to move and slide across this countertop. And then eventually it stopped. Now, if you watch the video, at the point that it stops, you actually hear a loud, at least on the recording, because I don't remember hearing it outside of the recording, you hear a loud, almost like a bark sound. It was that type of sound right at the very, very end. Now, yes, I do have dogs in the house, but my dogs weren't barking. They were laying on the floor in the living room at the time. And I know I can't prove that because I didn't record it, but that's where they were. So it's incredibly freaky to watch. And if I can, I'll send it to you. I'll email it to you. So maybe you can take a look at it if you want. But it was very, very interesting to see that, and it caught my attention. I've had other things that happened here. When I first moved in here, my mom was still alive, and before I did the renovation work on the house, there was like this little bit of a wall, like a half a wall in the that separated the living room from the kitchen, and that's where I put the dogs' food dishes in their water bowls. And I remember when I was doing that, I was doing a video, and I was showing my mom where I was putting everything, and she was like, "I don't like it over there, Joseph. Don't leave it there. Put it on the other wall, on the other side of the kitchen, because you're going to trip over that and all that stuff. Just move it." And I'm like, no, I like it where it is. It's fine. Well, fast forward now, Mom had passed away, and I had gotten back from the funeral, and I was here at the house, and the renovations hadn't started the renovations yet. And I was sitting here in the studio, and I had the dogs in here with me, and then all of a sudden the two of them just stood up, and they went to the door of the studio. All of the hair in their back was standing straight up, and they were just looking out the door. Like they wouldn't step out, but they were just looking out the door. And then I hear a scraping sound, like metal scraping across the floor. And I got up and went to look, and the food bowls that were on that wall where my mom said not to put them had slid across the floor to where she told me she wanted them. So I didn't have any picture proof. I didn't have my phone with me at the time. but when I did get my phone, I called my sister. I told her, and she was like, "Yeah, that's mom. She's messing with you. She told you she didn't like it there. That's why she's moving it for you." And I've had experiences like that, so I know that there's a spirit world. I know things are out there. So it's those experiences for me.
It's not your mother.
Well, in reality, I know that. In the heart,
It's not your mother.
Yeah, no, I know. But in my heart, I want it to be. Do you know what I'm saying? But I know that.
And you're falling into the trap that everybody makes.
You think?
What's the greatest trick the devil ever pulled?
Yeah, he appears as an angel of light. He can take on any kind of form to make you and distract you from your true spiritual path. Absolutely, I teach that. But
the greatest trick he ever did was making people believe he didn't exist.
Oh yeah, no, that for sure.
He's doing it right now to you.
Oh, but that's the difference. So I know he exists. I don't doubt that 1 second. As like I said, I've taught this to people.
Every time you led credence that by saying that you think it's your mother that moved this.
You think?
I'm telling you, it's not her.
I know it's not. That's the thing. I know it's not. I would like it to be, because I would like to have the comfort of the idea of my mom still being around, my dad still being around. But I know because of what
she is, but she can't get close to you because you got a lot of shit floating around you that you need to clear out.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. She can only get so close to you.
So then how do you know when something is like really and truly a spirit reaching out to you? How do you discern that?
How do I know?
Yeah, in your experiences, how do you discern that?
So sometimes it's a fly that's buzzing around this computer all Saturday morning until I've had enough and I burn the house down, right? For one fly. What's that? Don't remove a fly with a hatchet from your friend's forehead. How do I know? So sometimes I see them physically, mentally. I know. Sometimes I hear it. Okay. If you listen to your thoughts, you learn to understand which ones are coming in from spirit and which ones are your thoughts. Okay. And then you have to trust what you get. So all of my instincts are telling me that your mother's on the outside of your bubble. Okay. Because you've got so much shit around you that she can't get through. And until you clear out all that crap and balance yourself and reconnect to God and ground yourself, that gray, light, dark stuff that's around you is just going to continue to manifest stuff with you until it wins or you change or you make a change.
Now, how would you go about that, though? How would you go about correcting all that and clearing out all that gray stuff around?
In general, I'm not ready to answer. I would need more time to be able to answer your.
Well, no, I'm saying
directly,
not just my specifically, but if this was something that you were dealing with, what would be the first thing that you would do to go out and to try to clear out that gray stuff and realign yourself? What can someone do or anyone do?
So that's exactly what I had to do. Okay. Once I accepted what I am and who I am and where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do to help and so on, I started aggressively going down my red road and learning learning the things that I need to know. It's ironic you asked that because one of the vets, friend of mine, his name's Donald Dunn, just released his second book. Have you bumped into Don Dunn yet?
No, not yet. No.
It's up in Rolla, Missouri. Me and my wife went out there last summer before, I don't remember, for a vet event, and we connected. He produced his second. He just released his second book, and I started reading it, and I had to reach out to him and say, "We need to talk," because in it he describes a group of veterans who are seeing these dark shadows that are constantly with them now, and the mantra behind the story is that what followed us home. Okay. Now he's talking about war combat veterans and having, darkness follow them home from the combat fields of Iraq, Afghanistan, filling the next country. Right. So that, led him to the next question. What do you do next? So I'm taking veterans through and other people through that process. Okay. And the process, we all try to dummy it down into a formula, right? But the process comes down to what you resonate with, where you are, what's your starting point, and where you're supposed to go. So the starting point for me was understanding the four corners of our existence: our physical, our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual bodies. All right. Those four corners of our existence, it's from our soul to the follicles that no longer produce hair on the top of my head, right? Okay, it is all of us. When those things aren't in balance, we cannot move with God, okay? We've got to rely on God to keep moving us forward and protecting us. Once we get ourselves balanced, aligned, grounded, connected to above, and we learn how to surround ourselves in the light of Christ or any of the other forms of protection that's out there in the white light world, right? That's kind of the end game, to build ourselves up to a balanced existence where we have far more light coming into us and going out of us than darkness coming at us. And as you gain ground, you literally start pushing the darkness away. Okay. But it's a long process, right? One vet I worked with for almost 15 months before I went and cleared his house and him, and it was a very low level demon, more of a trickster that I took out of his house. But once we got that out of there, and this vet is a borderline atheist. Okay. So, but for me to work with you, short of just clearing houses and getting rid of darkness, to work with folks, they have to have some kind of faith. Okay. Because if you don't have faith, it doesn't work. Okay. It just doesn't. Right. You're never going to balance yourself. You may be able to balance parts of yourself, but you can't balance your whole self. So for this vet, I charged him with the task. I said, listen, you have to find something greater than you. He ended up going to a church. I don't know what church, but it's not the same one his wife goes to. His wife's a religious, Sunday religious church on 3 times a week woman. He doesn't go to church with her, but he goes to a church, and he's become consistent with it. In his own words, he's like, yes, I have to go so that I can keep the anxiety away. I can keep the depression away. I can do the things, that support all the work that I did to get to this point, right? For some folks, they want to go after the spiritual part first. If they're feeling connected to it, it's all good. But if they're doing it because it's kind of cool, we got to get the other parts taken care of. So to close that loop, when I was really deep in the throes, I had to truly understand what it is to balance my existence. All right. And I had to learn to meditate. And I'm not a kumbaya meditating guy, but once I started figuring out the meditation process that resonates with me, my anxiety disappeared. Okay. I solved VA issued, military sponsored PTSD and anxiety. Okay. I addressed those things, especially anxiety, with meditation. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can see how meditation could be helpful for that, for sure. As a Christian, we're told that we're supposed to meditate on the Word of God. Now, I know it's a different type of meditation compared to Eastern spirituality. Well, yeah, in a way,
it's all the same. It's all the same. When you break it, I hear what you're saying, but once a person said, and this is what I want to get across to your audience, Joe. Okay, if somebody wants to sit there and do the full blown kumbaya, great. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you're me and all I like to do is listen to my breath going in my nose and out my mouth and just quiet my mind by focusing on that. The difference between the big time kumbaya folks and what I do is nothing. Spirit world doesn't care. Okay. Well, all they care is that you're making the effort. Your intent is to meditate. What's the purpose behind your intent? To connect with spirit too, and then fill in the blank. Hence, sitting with God. Meditate to sit with God.
Right. And well, that's kind of where I was going with it. What I was going to say is that I know that there are differences between what the Christian perspective of meditation is compared to what other religious and spiritual backgrounds are. And I think, I don't think there should be that kind of debate over it. I know if you go to the average Christian, church-going Christian, they're going to tell you, oh no, you shouldn't do that. That's not, that's not. I disagree with that. Right, exactly. See, I disagree. Then that was the point I was trying to make. So I disagree with that. And I was just trying to qualify it. We're supposed to meditate on the Word of God. Okay, great. So how do you do that? Is there a particular format that it says that we're supposed to do that? No. I mean, look. So I'll find a particular Bible verse that applies to me in that particular time that I'm thinking. Maybe I'm going through something specific, and I'll search the Scripture. I'll find a passage of Scripture that resonates with me at that particular moment, and I'll take that, and I'll quiet myself. I'll sit there and I'll think about what those words mean. I'll use that time to try to connect with the Holy Spirit and to understand what it is that I'm dealing with. It's quiet time. That's what I like to call it that. It's quiet time. I get to sit there and commune with the Holy Spirit through the Word of God, meditate on those things, relax myself, and focus on something other than the trouble that's swirling around me, focusing on those promises that the Scripture holds for me. So that's what I was talking about. So I was trying to get to. So and I don't remember where we were. So
it's all
yeah.
good. It's all good. Okay.
So
the key thing in meditation for people who want to understand the why does it work and why do we meditate? So white light beings vibrate at a very, very high frequency. Darkness vibrates at a very low frequency.
Right.
Okay. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to raise our vibration through meditation. How do you do that? Quiet your mind.
Mm-hmm.
As you quiet your mind, in a sense, it's like drifting off to sleep. You get into that REM, your brain functions at a different frequency. That
right.
frequency connects with the spirit world.
Yeah, I agree. Now, how do you know when a spirit is speaking to you rather than your thoughts, your imagination?
Yeah, that's taken a lot of work, and I'm constantly concerned that I'm, am I? I guess now that you're asking it that way, I don't really spend that much time worrying about it anymore. Mm-hmm. Kind of in a revelation while I'm talking to you. But for me,
that happens.
I know the difference, and when I try to help people understand or teach people how to learn the difference, if it surprises you, the thought that came in your head, okay, then it's probably from spirit. If it comes out of left field, you had no, there's no rhyme or reason why that thought would pop in your head, that's a message. Okay. So, for me, it's almost like I can see two different halves of my brain where I allow this side to do the thinking and this side to do the listening. And then there's other times when the listening is as blunt as this conversation we're having with you. I mean, I was doing my rituals for, had to go help this person who was under spiritual attack. And I was really starting to question whether or not I was going to do this. Okay. And spirit must be able to, see what's coming, because it said to me, clear her. All right. Loud and bold. All right. And it wasn't a voice I know. All right. Well, that shook away any lingering doubt as to whether what I was about to do was meant to be or not. Okay. And I needed that because I was legitimately questioning some of the things around this person and whether or not I should be doing it. And spirit cleared that up quickly. And when I got to this property, I understood why now that I was called. I couldn't see inside this particular building from a distance because of how much darkness was in there. And there's this ball of, I like to call them portals or balls of energy where spirits move from place to place. And it looks like one of these, Egyptian hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs? Am I saying hieroglyphs? Yeah,
hieroglyphs.
Massacring that word, right? and it looks like that, like the Mayan calendar shifting. Okay, and I get fascinated with it, and I stare at it forever. But the point is that there are times when spirit tells me, as loud and as bold as it gets, there's times when I say, "Listen, I need confirmation," and the confirmation will be there. It's a lot. It's rather obvious for me now. And then there's times when I flat have to sit down and meditate on it. all right, and just quiet my brain. And when I'm done, does it resonate with me and all of that? So it's a long, it can be a long process, or it can be a very direct, you're supposed to be writing books, stupid. So pick up the pen and start writing, all right? Or go clearer.
Yeah. Well, I know we spent a lot of time talking about everything other than your book. So let's shift and pivot to the book a little bit. Mysteries at the Wyndham Inn. So I was able to read a small portion of it this morning, and it is written very well. And like I said earlier, just to refresh your aging memory, your style of writing, your style of writing was brilliant. I like the way you do it.
I'm the greatest.
Use the greatest.
I am the greatest.
That's just remember, pride leads you down the path of the dark side. You don't want to do that.
I'm going to hell, baby. That's it. I gave myself a kudos. I'm in trouble now.
There you go. Yeah. So give us an overview of Mysteries at the Wyndham Inn, and what was the inspiration behind the book?
So the inspiration behind the book was when the main character in the book showed up in my house out of the blue. I've only bumped into him a few times since we were kids. When we were kids, we used to, we were thick as thieves. He taught me how to ride motorcycles and dirt bikes, and we were terrorizing romantic Willomantic as pre-teens, back before today's Vespas and, goofy motorbikes were around. That was back when kids made motorbikes, right?
Yeah, there you go.
And the chain stayed on for more than 30 miles or, 30 minutes. You were having a hell of a day. But he showed up out of the blue and started telling me about, he started reading it. So he showed up on his motorcycle, okay, and started telling me about how he would be attacked by a cat when he lived at the Wyndham Inn, okay?
Okay.
So the story starts out by introducing you to a character who is not only a real-life character, but he's a friend of mine for, the better part of my life, okay? So as he's telling me this story, when people talk to me, I can see these bubbles popping up, okay? And it kind of shows me, the spirit world shows me what they want me to see, or what I can, what I'm supposed to see. Remind me to tell you the story about the Navy vet who had to ask me about an abortion. Okay. And I'll take you on a story that'll spin the tires of your listeners. But anyway, Master Gary showed up, started telling me about, this cat that would attack him in his room, and he would wake up screaming and fighting this cat off and turn the light on, and there's no cat in his room. Okay, it was all a dream and so on, except for the scratches. Okay, and when he had to explain the scratches on his back to his girlfriend one time, it got a little bit interesting. Okay, fortunately, when you read the book, you'll see his girlfriend turns out to know a thing or two about the spirit world. But I've driven by this property for the better part of my life. And it's actually not far from where I live. And I've seen the ghosts in there, and I know some of the folks that have done ghost hunting in there, and so on and so on. And when I was writing, and this was happening when I was writing my book, A Date with Suicide. And one of the ghost hunters did 20 years. He started Eastern Connecticut State Paranormal. And he spent 20 years in the Navy as a medic. And we would talk, we'd talk spirit stuff and all kinds of stuff. But he had said to me when my book, A Date with Suicide, came out, he wanted to meet with me because I had told him I'm going to write the story of the Mysteries of the Wyndham Inn. They had already done a paranormal investigation on it, and they were doing a second. Okay. So anyway, time goes by. I reach out to him, tell him that Date with Suicide is released, and I don't hear back from him. Okay. Month goes by. I'm busy doing the podcast and all that. And it dawns on me, I said, I haven't heard from him. What the hell? I got sidetracked again, 6 weeks, and I saw on Facebook this flash. This guy died, okay, dropped dead. And when it said that, everything came rushing in. It was like, watching a movie in super fast speed, okay? And that's what happens a lot of times. It'll go by like a film. I'll see all these, things that have happened or are about to happen. And it was showing me my dreams and him and some things that happened to him. And I'm not going to get into that, but I said, holy hell. And I go grab my dream log, I open it up, and I start searching. And sure enough, in that, it said 6 must die before the final mystery is revealed at the inn. Okay. I never paid any attention to that entry until that day. Okay. So in the openings to the book, I warn people, this place is dangerous. Okay. You better pay attention to it. Then as I did the research and started listening to the ghosts tell me their side of the story and the living telling me their side of the story, what I was able to put together is a fascinating non-fiction. Now, a publisher is going to tell you, no, this is fiction, historical fiction. Not to me, it's not. I don't write fiction, okay? I tell stories that either I've lived or I can see coming in from the spirit world or, people, right? That's how the whole thing started. And then it just started taking on a life of its own. So now I'm having fun because telling the other stories is, a lot less fun, right? Who wants to talk about suicide? Now, the crazy part is I can actually talk about suicide and spit a lot of humor in there, and that helps move the stories along, right? Sure. Well, in the Mysteries of the Wyndham Inn, I do the same thing, except the narrator is the actual ghost who's telling me her side of the story as I'm typing away. So this whole story's narrator is told by a ghost who is in this building as we speak.
And that's why I said the way you tell the story is brilliant. That
the story's brilliant. Oh, I thought I was.
The style, the writing. Well, I mean, you have to have. I think you're insane, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But
I'll second that one.
Well, I don't know. No, but it's so now this hotel or this building. It's a hotel. It's an inn. It sounds familiar to me. Is this? I used to watch a lot of like those ghost hunters, like Taps and all that stuff. Is this something that's been investigated by organizations like that?
Yeah, Taps did an investigation into this thing, and they didn't find anything. Okay, I think they said there's stuff there, but we couldn't find anything. All right, and I know why. All right, when you're around things, when spirits and ghosts are trapped, and they're this close to pure darkness. Okay, every time they present themselves, they open themselves up to the dark side, finishing what the dark side started. And that's to capture all of them, their soul, their spirit, their emotions, all of it. Okay. So when these groups like Taps go to certain places, the reasons ghosts don't come out and just start dancing around and say, here I am, first and foremost, it's against universal law. Okay. So think about, again, like the military, right? Listen, you're in the military, the government will tell you still have your constitutional rights. But then again, there's a thing called the UCMJ in Fort Leavenworth that plenty of people using their, First Amendment rights are thrown into when you're in the military because you don't have your First Amendment rights. So the spirit world is kind of the same thing. They can get themselves into trouble if they expose themselves. Okay. So it's kind of like being in jail, right? You got to follow the rules or it's going to get worse. So when places like Taps went and did this investigation, those ghosts do not want to come out. Well, my friend who did 2 of them in there, they picked up a couple of ghosts, but he even said it to me after the first investigation. He's like, I don't think they want to come out. And I didn't really say much about it because I didn't know at the time. I know now. That's right. They didn't want to come out.
Interesting.
Let me close that loop. I posted one picture on Facebook of that window right there. Okay. And I said to everybody, I said,
the ones with the curtains open?
I don't remember. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see it. But I posted on Facebook and I said, tell me how many ghosts you guys see in these, how many faces you see in this window. Right? It ranges from 6 to 12. Okay. But I can see how many spirits are, showing themselves in that glass. Now, why? Why do they do that for me? I'd love to find that answer out for myself, but I do have a gift of being able to take photographs or video of spirits. Okay. I have hundreds and thousands of photographs with orbs. Okay. And in those orbs, if you blow them up, you'll see the faces. All right. And at times I can tell you at certain times I can tell you who those spirits are, when they were alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is something that you could see that these professional paranormal investigators aren't able to see themselves or find themselves. I guess the spirit world is kind of, it's not like an on-demand thing. I guess you can't just go in there and just say, okay, well, I'm here now, show me. That's what it sounds like to me, at least.
So I can, but most can't. All right. But it takes time for me to acclimate to a place, and it takes time for the spirit world to acclimate to me.
I got you.
So now my wife is completely different, right? I can't sense pure evil. Okay. I'm not afraid of it. Doesn't bother me. Again, remember that story I told you?
Yes.
Okay. Now you understand why, right? And when the spirit world came back, I've never felt such a powerful sense of love and all the stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah.
And that's where my fear just kind of, that's it. I no longer fear the darkness, right? I'm not saying it doesn't scare me from time to time, jump out of the corner and go boo. I'm going to jump with the rest of you. But shit, Joe, I forgot where we were going on this.
I don't know
what was I saying?
You were closing a loop.
Yeah, so now we need the audience to be live and tell us what the hell we were talking about. Where's the chat room? Come on, guys. What the heck was I talking about?
Everybody's being quiet today.
It was a good point behind it. But this recording is going to do well. Okay, it's some good stuff, especially if you're able to do some clips on it. But
yeah, we're going to try to, for sure.
Anyway,
so in the story, the person narrating the story is actually a spirit that's in the inn.
Yes.
Is that? But it's not your guide, right? Because you said you have a guide.
No.
All right, now
I have a lot of guides, but I refer to my gatekeeper, my main spirit guide. Everything comes in and out through him.
Okay. And now this gatekeeper, is this the one that you refer to as your ghostwriter?
No, that would be the narrator.
Okay. All right. Because
that
was
a pretty good line for a writer, right?
Yeah, that's actually very good.
The whole ghostwriters, the little monologue that I throw out there, started from people I grew up with who still to this day can't believe I'm a novelist, right? And a best-selling author at that. So they look at me with this look of pure disbelief and say, you had a ghostwriter, right? And at first it was pretty insulting. But again, you got to give kudos to, all kinds of people because they say things that they don't really mean until they realize what they say, right?
Do you think that sometimes they're sometimes prompted to say those things by the spirit world without them even realizing it?
Okay, I'll tell you a great story on that, how it happens to me too, if you like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've always known that spirit talks through me and I type and it comes out and so on and so on. Because I'll sit there and type and I can't wait to see what happens next. And then it happens and I'm like, oh, this is great. So the ghost writer is actually the woman in that building, right? Among other ghosts that tell me what they, their experiences. But yeah, I'm telling her story along with the livings. But you want me to jump on a quick story for you before you go to your next question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. About stuff that just comes out of my mouth or people's mouths. About 30 years ago, my wife and I are out at a bar doing what, reasonably young people do when they're trying to abandon their kids for a few hours, right? Mm-hmm. And pretend, they have no responsibilities in life, right? So we're down at, the Home Tower Bar. I think it was called the Iron Horse back then, and romantic, man. Hometown Wyndham, right? Great place. So this place is packed, and my wife's to my side, and this girl goes to pass me up by, and she brushes up against my arm, and I didn't have sleeves on. And as soon as she touched my arm, I felt that little spark, and I just looked at her. No process, no thought whatsoever. I looked at her and I said, "Oh, you have cancer," right? Now, you know what happens to you when you say something that every ounce of your being wants to pull back those words, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What do they call it when you try to retrieve an email? Undo?
Yes.
Right? So now I'm looking at this woman, and this is a woman. She was early 20s, okay? She's as white as it gets. She had a look of pure terror on her face, okay? Now, as I'm looking at her, I can feel this burst of energy beside her. And I look up, and it's her boyfriend, who was 11'9", maybe 11'9 and a half. Okay. Probably weighed 240. He was a big sack of holy crap. Okay. Mm-hmm. And his face he was looking at her, and he was hot. He didn't know what I said. He just knew the look on her face wasn't something he was enjoying. Mm-hmm. So he looks from her to me, and it was about to go down. Right. And I'm like, good Lord. Okay. Well, she puts her hand almost instinctively on his arm, looks at me and says, how the hell did you know that? I just found out this morning that I have cancer, and I haven't told anybody. Okay. Now I'm trying to get out of this conversation. So I look at my wife, and my wife knows. She steps in between us and my wife. She's such a beautiful woman. She's got a smile that you just can't. You just can't. She smiles and everything melts. It is what it is. So she whips out that smile, and her eyes get big, and she has these beautiful eyes, and she's jawing with the girl, and it's all diffused. They ended up talking for a little while, all right. And my wife kept looking at me, and I'm saying, no, I don't want to get into it. Okay, I want to have a few drinks and forget about what I am. It's not why I was there. That has happened to me countless times throughout my life. Okay, I've seen cancer in people. I've seen a lot. Okay. Anyway, it's a story of what happens when spirit wants to talk through you, and spirit talks through me a lot. And I can't tell you how many times words come out of my mouth, and I'm like, Sometimes I actually sound intelligent though. So you got to give kudos to spirit.
Always. You have to. Now you want me to remind you about a story about a Navy veteran and an abortion?
Yeah. So maybe a dozen years or so ago, my wife's company had a Navy vet. I had a lot of vets working for him, but one of them was this guy that rode submarines. So we kind of bonded, and he had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I need someone to talk to. I got a problem." I said, "All right." So I went and met with him, and he starts telling me about his wife, who's well on her way, pregnant. I can't remember, 6 months, whatever the number was. And he's saying that they went for their ultrasound. And as he's telling me this, I knew it was important because these bubbles start popping up again. And every time he says something, I can see what he's saying. Okay. And as he's saying it, I can see the baby in the womb, and I can see the intestines are outside of it, and the heart somewhere else, and the liver's over here. And it really looked more like roadkill than any semblance of a fetus. Okay. Or a small baby. It was vile. I mean, it was gross. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he was telling me that he needs to take the next day off, and he didn't want to disappoint my wife, because he'd already taken time off to do these ultrasounds and so on. And, as he's telling me this, I said, give me some time. I got to do something. I can hear that I need to go home and meditate and charge up a malachite rock. Okay. So I do, and I talk to the spirit world and do all the things that I do. Go back, see him, and I hand him this rock, and I say, listen to me. Whatever your wife believes in, it's important for your wife. I don't know why they're telling me it's important for her, not so much you. But you got to go home, take this rock, place it in the center of her hand, just tell her to keep this in her hand, and to talk to pray to ask for whatever it is she wants to happen. Okay, if it's just, you're going to have the abortion and you need to be healthy and you need to overcome all of this, okay? Mm-hmm. Or whatever it is you want, you need to tell what it is you believe in, what you're looking for. Okay, I didn't get into what religion, it's none of my business, don't really care. Okay, as long as you believe in something good. So he's looking at me like, your audience is right now. This bald-headed stooge is out of his effing mind, right? So vet to vet, he paid me the proper courtesy, shook his head and said, all right, okay? And then I left. Well, the next day, it's late in the afternoon. I'm at my wife's office, and I'm in the parking lot actually talking with her, when I hear this old redneck Ford or Chevy pickup, brum, 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 brum,
Right,
remember being in your early 20s,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Right? So here comes one of those, right? Brum, big choppy tires and screaming through the parking lot. And I look at my wife and I go, this is going to be interesting. He jumps out of the truck, didn't even shut the door, didn't even shut the truck off. And he's bounding across the parking lot towards me and my wife. And as he does, I'm getting a read on two things. One is terror and the other is, kind of teary excitement, right? So he's yelling as he's getting closer, what the did you put in that rock? What the did you put in that rock? What did you do? He's wiping his tears and so on. And as he gets up to me, he says, easy, it's close enough. What's on your mind? We had to have an ultrasound before the abortion this morning. My wife held on to that rock, stayed up all night praying. in her grandmother's rocking chair. Okay. Wouldn't leave until we had to go to the hospital. The nurse did the ultrasound and said, oh my. Went and got a doctor, then a second doctor, then the head of whatever he was talking about, some boss doctor.
Mm-hmm.
The boss doctor's looking at that, looking at the old ultrasound and says, well, miss, and I won't use her name, I wouldn't encourage you to have an abortion now. Your baby is perfectly healthy.
Oh, wow.
So we went to pull out the ultrasound and I said, don't. Okay, because I don't want to see it because I can see the soul and other things and so on. And I didn't want to because I knew my work was, done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's this kid, tears running down his face. Okay. Asking me, how did I do that? I looked at him and said, I didn't do anything. I'm just a conduit, a hollow bone. All I did was make the introductions. Your wife did it, and you, but your wife did it. Okay. The power of faith and the power of prayer is real.
Yeah.
Now, will that happen every time? I have no idea. All I know is it happened that time. Okay.
Yeah.
How's that story grab you?
That's I got chills. I legitimately have chills from the story.
Yeah. So pay attention to those chills because those are what we call truth bumps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anytime you get those, look around at whatever the questions was or whatever was flying around, because that's a spirit world confirming for you that what you're witnessing is the truth.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, we have a question from one of our viewers. All
right, let's go.
This is Bunny Fuentes asks, how do you get past the gray area? I'm curious.
What does the gray area mean? I'm not following that.
I think that's what you were talking about earlier.
About maybe she's caught between darkness, gray, white light. How do you push through the gray? So we're constantly surrounded by gray, and the more you pray, the more you meditate, the closer you are to, whatever it is you do. Okay, that's relative to white light. The more you push the darkness away, but it's a transition. Okay, very few. And again, when I do a clearing or something, you'll see that dramatic shift of dark to light. Rooms will light up. The light bulbs will be more bright. The invisible fog, as I like to call it, kind of lifts. And I'm kind of wondering if that's what I'm assuming this is a woman is kind of talking about. All right, read what she says there. I don't have my glasses on.
When stated that was not your mom and you asked him, how can you get past that gray area to get rid of all the trash that surrounded you? Oh, okay. I got it. This goes back.
It sounds like Bunny 77's got some similar issues.
Possibly, yeah.
So the first thing you have to do is you have to do the work. Okay, what do I mean by that? So just like the young Navy couple that went home and prayed, okay, they pulled in so much white light that they changed the destiny of the day before. Okay. So they were truly pushing the gray away. Okay. If I use that example, let's say the darkness destroyed that baby, the gray hung around it, and the white light came in and did the repairs that were needed. All right. But in your case, Joe, your red road, your path through your spiritual path, your spiritual journey, I don't want to say is at a crossroads, but was at a crossroads. So it wasn't at a crossroads, was at a crossroads. I don't understand what they're trying to tell me. But what I can see is that you're caught. Okay, you're having a hard time transitioning to level up. Okay, mm-hmm. So the gray is sticking to you, and it will until you can cross that threshold and level up. Now, what do I mean by level up? Listen, I'm not a gamer, but it's a good way to explain things. So, back 40, 50 years ago, does anybody remember Zelda?
Sure.
On Atari?
Legend of Zelda. Yeah, sure.
Okay, Legend of Zelda, right? You had to do certain things to level up and move to the next thing. But we have to do the same thing. I have to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm constantly doing things, not just to maintain the level that I'm at, but to kind of move to the next level. So in Joe's case, what I'm seeing, Bunny 77, is that I can't tell you if he's gone through the crossroads or he's sitting at the crossroads trying to figure out how to justify the Bible and what is resonating with him. Because the Bible will screw you up 8 ways to Sunday, and it will help you like nothing on this earth can. Okay. So you have to learn how to take from the Bible what resonates with you and take from, in my example, the natural world, my Native American beliefs that fill in the rest of the pieces, or vice versa. My Native Americanism and Bible verses fill in the missing pieces. So the gray to me is a number of things, but I think for your example, or the answer you're looking for, is that once we push away the heavy darkness, the demons and the real deep stuff, there's a constant shade of gray lassoed around us. And we have to work within the white light to push that gray away. Okay. I can tell you this. I don't know if it helps you or not, Bunny, but this book, Crazy, all right, I transitioned stepfather for the word crazy. Okay. So it's 2,442 steps away from or to crazy, right? Which refers to the rat bastard that was a stepfather, all right? His existence right now is in the gray world. He's tried reaching out countless times. And while the baby Jesus is going to have to forgive me, and I know he forgives him, that's what the Bible teaches. I'm not there yet, okay? So if you read the Bible, I'm supposed to forgive. Yeah, can't do it. Tried. Doesn't work. Doesn't resonate with me. I'm not there. So what does that mean? Well, it means I'm not a good Christian, right? Oh, well, I'm doing the best that I can. I've tried to forgive him and I can't. But that's a true example of gray or gray energy that's constantly hovering around me or others. So the more white light I bring in, the more I'm able to push all darkness away, including gray. And gray energies are infamous for masking their gray and getting folks like Joe to believe that it's a white light being when it isn't.
Mm-hmm. So
does that answer your question, Bunny?
So.
Because if it doesn't, Joe's going to give you his phone number and you can call us.
Absolutely. All right. So what do you wish that more people understood about the spirit world, that could help them live with more clarity, more peace, more protection?
So God and all your gods are just like you. God and all your guides are just like you. Okay? And I mean just like you. People think that ghosts and spirits are these different things, right? Listen, they're people.
And Bunny says
okay?
yes, thank you. That you answered her question.
Sweet. Okay. Again, what I was driving at is that the spirit world, I wish people would understand that you can talk to the spirit world just like you're talking to a friend. Now, every person, when they come into this lifetime, go, oh my God, did I say this lifetime? There goes the Christian Bible. They're going to condemn me to hell. Oh my God, reincarnation. The world ends. Oh goodness. I'm poking fun at, I'm poking fun at things. I am not disparaging the Bible or those who believe in that stuff. Okay. But when you read the comments I get from people for my beliefs, it does get interesting. Right. Anyway, what was I saying, Joe? Where was I going?
I asked about what you wish that people understood about the spirit world that can help them live with more clarity, peace, protection. So
when your soul is fixing to come into the baby, and again, I can see babies that don't have souls, and I've seen our angels deliver the soul literally at the point of birth. Okay, it happened with one of my children, and it was one of the most emotional experiences I've ever had. And when you raise kids, you learn to appreciate those brief moments because, man, they'll piss you off in life, won't they?
Sure.
Okay, so I always refer back to this particular child as that was the greatest moment in this kid's life, was when the spirit world put his soul into him. The rest, well, that's a whole book in and of itself. Right? Okay.
All right.
But what I'm getting at is that with you from the second you're born until a little bit after you die is one angel, one guardian, one person, one spirit who is with you from start to finish. Okay. Mm-hmm. For some, it actually can be an angel. For most, it isn't. It's somebody you knew in life or previous lives and so on that you've asked to come and stand by you to help you accomplish all the things that you're looking to accomplish in this lifetime. For me, I call my main guide my gatekeeper. Okay. I talk with them like I talk with you guys often. Okay. Doesn't play out well when you're on a bus or a train and you're sitting alone and you're having a conversation with your gatekeeper and the people around you are only hearing one side of the conversation and they diligently look to see if I have iPads or earphones or whatever it is
Earbuds,
that I'm having a conversation with somebody that isn't there, right? It's a lot easier now because people walk around, having those. But for me, for my life, when I'm doing that, they've always thought I was a little bit off kilter. Okay. What's my point? My point is simple. Talk to the spirit world just like they're your friends. Okay. The angels out there are neutral. They don't judge. Tell them what you need. Okay. If it's stupid, it's not going to happen. If it's meaningful and meant to be, it will happen. Doesn't mean you just ask once. Okay. Just like that woman who prayed all night long. What if she'd have stopped at midnight? Would it have happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she didn't. So my point is, talk to your guides, pray to God. Okay. Now, remember, do you understand the difference of what I just said?
Yes.
Talk to your guides, pray to God. Okay. You're not praying to your spirit guides.
Yeah.
You're not, you can ask angels in your prayers for help, but you're not praying to angels. You're praying to God.
Got it. So what do you hope the audience takes away from the conversation today?
Faith. I hope we can do something to help you move your faith forward, to help you stabilize your faith, to help move your faith forward. And probably the most important is to truly understand that your relationship with whatever it is you believe in is the most important thing. Not what I think, not what Joe thinks, not what some preacher or pastor or, some 80-year-old woman who's determined to tell you. Okay. Listen to them, but don't let it stick to you, and don't let the bastards grind you down. Okay. If a verse in the Bible doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. Move to the next one. Okay. Right. If you think you're doing something wrong, then you probably are. If other people think you're doing something wrong, screw them. Okay. And I don't mean that like that, but
literally, yes.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep the faith and move your spirit forward. Don't let others tell you I can't. I bump into so many people that want me to go down the path of, knocking socks with religion. Okay. And I won't. I've been in churches where I've walked out. I've been in churches where after the fact, I've gone up and had some words for the preachers. Okay. Listen, don't tell me that I'm committing a sin if I don't pray for pedophiles. Okay. Who I pray for is up to me. Okay. Not you. And what sins I've committed are between me and my God.
That's
and
right.
Doesn't it say that if you ask for forgiveness of your sins, that you're not going to hell? So what the hell are you doing telling these people, you're committing a sin if you don't? That's bullshit. Okay. So, I'll fight from both sides of the podium. And here's the reason why. I hate it when somebody else steals a person's dream. Okay. My wife is Irish Catholic, and I've supported the Catholic faith since I was a child. But once we got together, I supported it, and I always will. Doesn't mean I always agree with it. Okay. Right. But there is so much in the Catholic faith that is powerful. There's so much in the Christian faith that is powerful. So do this. Men get involved with money, politics, and power. It messes everything up. So on your spiritual path, always cut that crap out and focus on what resonates with you.
Amen. That's great, man. I appreciate that.
Oh.
All right. Now, so last question. Who is somebody that you respect right now and what are they doing that inspires you?
So I'm going to tell you, Granddaughter Crow, this woman right here she's extremely humble. All right. But I encourage everybody to reach out to her. She's got a great mugshot if you can get a picture of her. Okay. She is one cool lady. I just sent a couple of vets to her. She's got some great training programs. She is truly a teacher. I don't feel that I'm a teacher, especially when I compare myself to her. I know I'm supposed to teach and all that, but she is a teacher, and whatever she has to say holds a lot of water with me. And I got to be honest, there are beliefs that she has that I absolutely disagree with, not agree with. I disagree with. Okay. And we get along beautifully. Okay. So she's probably the one person that really resonates with me right now, but there's others. The folks up at Wisdom of the Ages always encourage folks to buy their sage and other things from that shop. You can find them online. This woman was trained by the Lakota. And she is a hell of a spiritual person.
Outstanding. So, D Paul, where can we go to find more information about you, your books, your work, website, anything?
So if you just reach out and say, hey, God, connect me with this lunatic, a few spirit guides will show up and we'll connect. But
kind of like
if you want to read a really cool and inspiring book, okay, this is book 1 of a series. Books 2 is out beginning of next year. Book 3 and 4 will be out a little bit later. All right. All my books are on Amazon. That's the simplest path to get there. You can get them on all the other formats, but if you buy them on Amazon, I do a little bit better. I think you get a couple dollars per book on Amazon. When you do it through Barnes and Nobles, it gets cut deeply. But Amazon for the books, and if there's anything I can do to help you, I'm on Facebook. I've got some social media out there, and my email is available. So if you need me, reach out. And remember, I'm typically the guy you call when you got something that nobody else can get rid of. I'm that guy. If you just got a poltergeist in your house and you need somebody to get rid of it, there's a lot of folks out there that can do it. I can tell you what it is.
Gotcha. Well, we're gonna make sure we have all the links and everything that to Amazon in the show notes. It'll all be available once we publish a show to the audio feeds. I'll get all that information up on the video feed as well. And let's see, anything else that you want to talk about before we say ciao?
Yeah, let's get out there and plug your energy into TNE energy out there in Texas, and remember to what is our great sponsor, podhomes.fm, baby. All your podcasting needs. Get on it. Keep the faith. Keep moving forward.
Hold on. Got another comment here. This is good for you. God, connect me with this lunatic. Great freaking show, guys.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll set you up. Well, no problem.
Yeah, Bunny, I'm sending you a spirited message right now. So you're gonna feel yourself get wrapped in a loving light, because I'm talking to the circle of love and asking them to send a couple of spirits to give you a hug that's going to give you the God's warm and fuzzies. So enjoy that. And when you feel that and you start crying, reach out to Joe and let him know that it was a pretty cool feeling.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I'll pass that on to you once I hear. All right. D Paul, thank you so much for being with us today. Really appreciate you spending the time. I know we went way over the hour that we actually booked, but you know what? Great conversation, man. You don't want to end it. You really don't. And this was a blessing for me, and I hope it was a real blessing and a treat for the folks that have been watching and listening. You're a great guy, buddy. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for it. And let me see. Hold on one second. We got a quote. Another comment.
Welcome to my world. How cool is that?
Comment from Bunny. You're not going to believe how my whole body has trembled through the left half of the show, especially when I asked about tearing up the gray area. All right. Well.
Yeah. So what she doesn't know is I can sense that she's hurting. And while we were talking, I was having a conversation with the spirit world to send her light and love. Okay. And if she's asking, then I can only do things when people ask. If people don't ask, it's not right for me to do anything. Okay. Cause no harm, cause no interference. So what I was doing was I was sending it to her gatekeeper. Okay. Whatever she needs. So if you want more, reach out. I'll send you more and connect with your spirit guides. They have the connection now to the spiritual circle of love that's out there in God's universe.
Amen. All right. Sounds great. All right, D Paul, I'm going to go wrap up the show here, and
keep the faith. Keep moving forwards, folks.
What is that? Normally my trembles frighten me, but this felt like something positive. Praise the Lord. Amen. All righty. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up right now. We're at the 2-hour mark, and I got to go to the bathroom. So let's wrap this baby up. All right, folks. Pro HVAC R Solutions leverages over 30 years of experience in providing premier HVAC sales, services, and repairs, specializing in both residential and commercial installations. Pro HVAC's team of skilled technicians is dedicated to providing efficient heating, ventilation, and air conditioning solutions for your home or your business with a focus on quality workmanship and customer satisfaction. Pro HVAC Solutions ensures your comfort all year round. Contact Pro HVAC Solutions today for reliable HVAC services tailored to your needs. Just visit prohvacsolutions.com. The website's up there on the screen. Pro HVAC R Solutions. And listen, these folks are great. They're local here in Eagle Pass. They've installed the heating and ventilation system I have here in the asylum. They do great work. The owner of the company is a personal friend of mine, and he really goes out of his way to make sure all of his customers are properly taken care of. So check them out, prohvacsolutions.com, prohvacsolutions.com. All right. Also, don't forget, head over to our website and sign up for the programming announcements email list. That's at joerooz.com. When you go to the homepage, a little window is going to pop up. Just put your name on the mailing list there and fill it out. Get on the mailing list. It's free. I'm not going to charge you. It doesn't cost you anything. Sign up for it. We don't sell your information. We don't share your information. We don't give it away. It just stays here with us. And then we'll send you information on programming. I'm not going to send you a picture of a coffee cup and say, $80, it's yours. Not going to do that. All it is about programming. So any guests, any changes in the schedule, all that stuff gets sent out through the email. It's the easiest, best way for us to reach out to you because I am terrible with the social media stuff. You know that. So that's the best way to do it. So get on the mailing list and stay in the know. Now, if you are a podcaster or you are looking to be a guest on a podcast, head over to Podmatch, all right, and sign up for Podmatch. Podmatch is a great little platform. It's kind of like Tinder for podcasters. So get up over there, use my code here, joinpodmatch.com/JoeRooz. Sign up for Podmatch and get yourself on the list there and get yourself found and heard. All right. If you want to follow us on all the socials, you have us on Twix at Joe Rooz, Twitter, X, Twix, Joe Rooz. Truth Social, Joe Rooz, Minds, great platform, Minds. If you haven't been on Minds yet, you need to check them out, minds.com. They've been around for a while. I've been on their platform for a long time, and it really is a great alternative to things like Facebook and whatnot. So minds.com. Find me there at Joe Rooz. And just remember also on the 21st, the owner or the founder and CEO of Minds will be a guest on our show. Facebook, Joe Rooz Show. Instagram is not Joe Rooz because I'm telling you this, D Paul, because they banned me before I even finished the sign-up process on Instagram. So I had to redo the whole thing. This time I did it as not Joe Rooz. Same email address to register with, same phone number to register with, but that they let through. The other one, they said, no, you're banned. Okay, but not Joe Rooz on Instagram, TikTok, joe.roozgetter, Joe Rooz. Shout outs to all of our executive producing team, Wayne Rankin, Rosanna Rankin, Carolina Jimenez, Marissa Lee, and of course, the inestimable Anonymous Angela. Thank you guys so much for what you do, folks. These folks are donating their time, their talent, and their treasure to help put this show together. And you could do that too. You could head over to our website, the support page. You could sign up to be an associate producer for $17.76 a month. You could sign up to be a producer for $18.36 a month, or you can be an executive producer for $25 a month or more. All the producers get the shout out on every show. You get included in all the show notes. Anything that goes out from this show all has your name on it because through your donation of your time, your talent, your treasure, you're helping us put this thing together, so you get the credit for it. Now, the executive producers get one extra perk. They get to book an hour segment on the show with us and come on here and hang out and talk, and whatever we're talking about, whatever they want to talk about, we talk about. That's why we do our Wednesdays with Wayne. So our executive producer, Wayne Rankin, comes on Wednesday evenings, and he gives us a rundown of what's going on up there in the People's Republic of Washington State. So check it out. Check it out. If you're interested and you're able to do it, you have the means to do it, sign up, help us out. You could also do a one-time donation, any amount, or you can do a recurring donation in any amount. Whatever your means are, we appreciate all the help and support that we get. If you want to donate cryptos, you can do that too. Our wallet information is up on the website. Thank you, of course, to the folks that are streaming sats to us across the modern podcast apps like Podcast Guru, Fountain.fm, TrueFans.fm, not only fans, true fans, and Podverse, Podcast, all those. Great apps. Check them out at modernpodcastapps.com or podcastindex.org. If you want to be a lemming, you could always just go to your app store and buy them or download them from there. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here, buddy. So, folks, again, thank you for being with us today. We really do appreciate you taking the time. 2 hours, great show. D Paul Fleming, thank you so much, sir. Really do appreciate it. Head over to our website, joerooz.com. Make sure you include any questions or comments that you have. And folks, listen, don't forget, make Texas independent again. Go podcasting, keep a steady stride, and keep talking. Take care, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Time. Take it easy.
Happy trail.